Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2022 Illumination Universal feature film, Minions, The Rise of Gru. So this was supposed to come out in 2020, was pushed back because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but then it was pushed back again in 2021 to 2022. So I don't know what happened, but I remember there were toys on the shelf ready to go winter 2020, right before the world shut down, Friday, March 13th, 2020. And then I remember like everything got shoved to clearance that summer, like at Target or Walmart or something like that, because none of the kids knew what the characters were doing. Like you're like, okay, cool, Minions have kung fu gear, and there's like Chinese dragon dancing, parade stuff, and like all the Legos were like Chinatown themed, and you're like, okay, awesome, but like, what is it? What's the story? Like, this is cool. This is a cool setup. These are cool, like, toys. They're cool displays, but, like, what's the interaction? What are the characters doing? And then it got pushed to 21, and we're like, okay, cool. But then it got pushed again to 2022, and we're like, bro, what's going on? So it was very strange because there was no merchandise in 22, barely any merchandise. Let me rephrase myself. In 22, when the film came out, Despicable Me, Minions, they just sell a crap ton of merchandise, crap ton of toys for years. 13 years this franchise has been going. So it was very interesting to me that the merch still came out as scheduled in 2020, but there was nothing re-released or reproduced in for 2022 when the film actually came out. But in hindsight, didn't actually need the merchandise to keep garnering attention because there was massive hashtag gentle minions across the globe where all these different teenage boys would dress up in like full suits doing their vector V sign, the pyramid sign that he does in the first film, and like go to theaters in droves to see this film. And it made over, I think it was another $1 billion Despicable Me film. I think all of them made, or all of them close to made. I know the first Minions film, 2015's Minions, is the first non-Disney, non-Pixar animated film to cross the billion mark, which is massive. So Minions is a massive property. Despicable Me is a massive property. But this film did fine by itself without any toys, without any merch on the shelf at the current time that it came out in 22. So this is, again, nice and quick, hour and a half. The songs are impeccable. What's wonderful about this is that it focuses around Chinese New Year. It focuses around Lunar New Year. We start out on an archaeological hunt with these villainous six, not the Sinister Six, as we know from Spider-Man, the villainous six. And the villainous six go on a quest to get this Chinese zodiac stone, they call it, but it's really a necklace. It's a giant, 12-faced tablet basically on a chain that when you hold it, you can summon the 12 animals, at the stroke of midnight on Chinese New Year, on Lunar New Year, to infuse and take over the world and get all the energy and stuff. Great. So 5 of the 6 decide to oust the 6th member after stealing the stone from them. And so Gru is a child. He states specifically, I'm 11 and a half years old within this film. Now, this film starts in 1976. We know that the Minions movies was 1968, and they meet Gru at the end of that. But Gru's about the same age, like 11 and a half, 12 years old. So what happened? The timeline's now off. It kind of annoys me, but at the same time, it's a cartoon. I can't really complain. But at the same time, everything else has been in order and on track and fine until this. So what happened? What happened? What happened with the 8-year time difference? Because Gru obviously did not meet them at the age of 3. He was like 10, 11 at the end of the first Minions film in 2015, which took place in 1968. And here we are in the second Minions film, The Rise of Gru, which is about him as an 11-and-a-half-year-old boy wanting to become a member of the Villainous Six. And it takes place in 1976 because there's bicentennial posters everywhere for America's 200th birthday, right? We slept. So things happen, right? And the Minions are on their binge again. It's a matter of what does Gru do to get to be a part of the Villainous Six. Well, he steals the tablet, of course, that they all had, but he steals the stone. And so there's a lot of focus on that. There's an introduction of Dr. Nefarious, how Gru meets Dr. Nefarious at the Villainous Records store, which is the front for, very speakeasy-esque, for the Villainous Six headquarters where the interview was. But then Gru teams up with the ousted Knuckles character, who's the voice of him? He's in so many different things. A very famous actor. I can't picture his face. Can't remember his name. Anyway, so they're doing their villainous stuff, and Villainous Six is trying to defeat them, and then it all cultivates in Chinatown in San Francisco at the stroke of midnight on Chinese New Year, on Lunar New Year, and the villains become 5 of the 12 animals, and 3 minions become, who becomes what? Stuart, Kevin, and Bob, or Chicken, a rooster, a ram slash goat, and a bunny rabbit. And it's just funny having those 3 tiny puny minion animals facing against giant, bigger, stronger animals within the Zodiac. So it was fun having that little 8 dynamic out of the 12. We're still missing 4 animals, but it was fun. But then, like, Gru gets the stone back, and nothing's lost, and he takes the powers away, and he turns the 5 villains into rats, and then there's a fake funeral for Knuckles at the end, and then Gru and Knuckles right into the sunset with the minions, and everybody learns their villainous ways. So I talked about this in the second Despicable Me review. We went over that the ending takes place on Cinco de Mayo, and it's a neat thing to watch it for Cinco de Mayo, and you're like, haha, it's the holiday. And not many films take place on Lunar New Year, on Chinese New Year. So to not have it be Halloween focused, to not have it be Christmas focused, like there's no Christmas film of Despicable Me. I mean, yes, there's Minions Christmas shorts, but there's not a full Christmas movie for Despicable Me, right? So like you have a Cinco de Mayo holiday celebration, you have a Lunar New Year holiday celebration, which is a big plot point about the stroke of midnight on Chinese New Year when the Zodiac tablet comes to life, when the Zodiac stone comes to life. So I really love that this franchise is not focused on the main holidays. It's focused on other cultural holidays. That's so cool. You don't see that in any franchises. It's very, very rare to do that. So you can watch this 5th Despicable Me Minions film on Lunar New Year, and it could be a tradition. You can watch the 2nd Despicable Me on Cinco de Mayo, and it could be a family tradition. I'm sure people do that. It's very wonderful seeing how multiculturalism this property has truly become. That it doesn't celebrate one culture. It celebrates a bunch of different cultures. It celebrates a bunch of different backgrounds. And I think that's the point of Minions in general, is that the Minionese, the language, is a hybrid of many, many languages smooshed together, mixed in with some gibberish, and it is actual speech that these characters do and understand one another. It's very cool having the melting pot of different cultures come together in these films. Very rare, and I love that. That's why I love the Fast and Furious film series so much, because it's a melting pot. It's celebrations of different cultures and traditions thrown together from all over the world, represented in pop culture, attire, speech, food, family, cars, the whole 9 yards, music especially, and that's what this franchise does. That's what the Despicable Me Minions franchise does. Yes, the timeline is off, and I just expressed my unsatisfactory statements towards the 8-year time difference, but it works. Everything else works because it's a global celebration. It works. So I'm very excited to see what Despicable Me 4 brings. That's 2024, summer 2024. I'm sure there's going to be a 3rd Minions film, because if Gru is 11 and a half, 12 years old in this film, we're not first introduced to Gru until he's an adult, like a 45, 50-year-old adult. There is a plethora of decade in between. What happens when Gru's in high school? What happens when Gru goes to prom? Does he go to prom with Kevin? Who knows? He could go to prom with any Minion. Do the Minions ruin? Oh my, that would be an absolute hysterical senior year of Gru, and the Minions just destroy prom. Inadvertently, of course, but that would be hysterical. I already see it. I really hope that that's what they're planning for the third Minions film. A teenage Gru doing his senior prom. Hysterical. Or he could even be a freshman who was invited to the senior prom. That would be even more hysterical. How would the Minions inadvertently destroy that prom? Bruh, you could write so many stories. Oh, this would be a great TV series. This would be a great comic series, great graphic novel series. I'm sure the video games are awesome. Merchandise is great. I got a bunch of Minions Lego minifigures throughout the room. Hysterical, wonderful, excellent, perfect, superb, outstanding. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.